Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Off Topic, where the topic is on until it's not. I'm your host today, Cosmo, with Isaac, Cameron, and Liam. Today's topic is space. What opportunities lie in there? Why is it so damn big? Tell me. Tell me.
Opening up to the floor right off the bat. I see.
Yeah. Space is big, so we gotta shoot large. You know?
Well, I guess I'll start us off with this. You guys believe aliens are real?
I knew we were going there.
Yeah.
I do think there's life outside of Earth. I just don't know if we could call them aliens. That kind of seems a bit racist.
Extraterrestrials, then.
Extraterrestrials.
I mean, by definition, alien is something that is unlike us. So you could argue that animals are
Right.
aliens.
Alien is literally just foreign. Like
But
unique,
people
yeah.
typically use it in a more racist manner.
When I hear alien, I typically think of like green men from Mars.
With little
Yes.
antennas and big black eyes.
Yeah, most people
Yeah.
think that, I
Where
think.
did that idea come from? Like, who created that image?
That's a
And
really
then
Yeah,
everyone just agreed, yeah, this is Martians.
The
That's what
little
they look
green men
like.
from Mars, yeah. That is a good question.
I feel like it had to be some sort of like sci-fi or something from like the
Maybe.
20s.
I
Just
mean,
like on.
that brings up to think, when was the first time someone was like, huh, I wonder if there's other planets with other things?
Well, to a certain extent, I almost feel like ancient mythology kind of dealt with that a lot. That's not necessarily on like other planets, but back how they understood the planets in space back then was like different stars and everything were things of myth, and like there were deities that came from the stars and whatnot.
I guess.
To an extent, mythology details a lot of the earliest forms, or is what science fiction came from per se.
So I
Yes,
guess
but also
you could
consider
say-
that they thought of the Earth as the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could
Because
say
humans are selfish.
Greek gods or like Mesopotamian gods were the first extraterrestrials?
Is sort of from a certain point of view.
Well, extraterrestrials in the traditional sense, there's definitely, probably at least one. It's a big universe, right?
Yeah.
They're
I
probably not
believe
near
that
enough to reach, though.
No, I believe that there's because I also have balanced kind of like evolutionism and creationism, or not necessarily evolutionism, but believing in things that necessarily Christians wouldn't believe in. Like I think that a lot of Christians would argue that there aren't aliens, and I believe that there are not aliens in the standard sense, but I would believe that there would be creatures from other planets, maybe not sentient, but definitely from other planets. That's just my take on it.
Yeah. I mean,
I haven't dug
first-
too deeply into it. Oh, sorry. Do you want to
no,
go first?
No, you can go.
All right. I haven't dug too deeply into it, but I also come from the Christian background, and I know that there are actually a number of people who like have seriously dug into it and believe that there is a possibility that aliens could exist in correlation to the Bible, which is just really interesting stuff to think about. But I would take the stance that I don't think aliens, as in like sentient beings, exist, but I think that like alien life forms could exist, like plants or things on other planets that don't have intelligence, but they are technically living. That's where I'd say I fall.
I'm led to think that, like, with enough time, eventually there would be another kind of sentient alien life, right? Because in
Oh,
like
definitely.
vast
Oh, I'm sorry.
space, a
This is
lot of
starting to
time.
lead to something that I'm ready to fully down into, which involves things such as the multiversal theory, that there's other universes out there that do have similar stuff to us. There's multiple universes, as people put it.
I was thinking
So,
more like in the same universe, just far away.
in our universe, probably like it's so vast we haven't even explored most of our planet.
That's still terrifying to me.
Space is literally unfathomably large.
Did you know that like 98% of the mass of the solar system is just the sun?
Yes, I did know that actually.
Ugh,
Crazy.
don't like that. Mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
gross.
Hmm.
So,
Um,
um,
Also,
some
we're just mostly considering it in the fact of like planets. For all we know, there could be life in space itself, in the void of space. For
I
all we
find that
know, something could have adjusted in that space and actually adapted to survive.
There's water barriers in space, aren't there?
I
Yes, but
don't.
those things are like nigh indestructible. They're like the Nokia
Mm-hmm.
phone on.
They can like survive in space, but like they don't really do anything in space. They can't
I'm
stay
talking
there.
about like more than those tiny things. I'm talking about like big creatures. Like, because you think about when a creature is given a bigger space, if something grows a lot bigger. That's seen in a lot of animals, such as, for instance, fish like goldfish and koi can get immensely big the minute they're released into a river. Koi get to the size of a tuna. And if you don't know how big a tuna is, about the size of a person at the
Some
biggest.
tuna are no tuna are larger than that. They're the size of a small to medium horse.
And think that a small little koi fish or goldfish can get that big.
I find it difficult to believe that something could live in just a vacuum, but I don't see why it wouldn't be possible, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like, we don't know. Like, the universe and whatever is beyond that is so big, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I
Like, we
guess
have no way of
theoretically.
reasonably telling.
So,
And, like, if you want to delve a bit into mythology a bit, there's always the consideration of supernatural deities or beings, or even, like, creatures of legend that could, in theory, live in space. I can't remember where I've seen it, but there's a theory about a species of, like, dragons or reptilian that lives in space. Use like the heat of stars and suns, which are all suns technically,
Oh,
to survive and warm up. But there's just huge reptilian-based creatures, or some like slightly furred creatures that live in space.
hmm, I don't know about that one, but
The thought about that is terrifying.
I think if there's anything living in the vacuum of space, it would look very different from like what we traditionally think as life.
well, because like a lot
Probably.
of what we picture of life has this like idea of a top to bottom, like how they exist. But if you're living in space with no gravity and no way to really like move around, I feel like in order to function as a living creature, you'd have to look drastically different than anything we could comprehend.
I feel like it would look more like a sponge.
Probably.
It would definitely be more blobby, I feel like.
That, or like it could have a more solid form, but it'd be entirely like a different alien shape to us. We don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause again, it's space. We don't know how something would react and grow up there. But also consider like it might there we could be looking at something that every time we look up at the night sky, but we can't tell because it's so incredibly huge.
Yeah.
That's generally terrifying. Imagine something bigger than a universe. so vast that we can't even tell that it's there.
What about Mars? Because apparently there was water on Mars in the past, but it's all kind of like frozen now.
Hmm. And there's
So do you
still
think there was
some
like at least like microscopic life on Mars?
oh, most definitely. Like they found microscopic life in the water,
Oh,
I
they
think.
did.
But
Oh shoot.
we also gotta consider like between the wear and tear of plants and obviously Mars probably moving from where it used to be to where it is now. For all we know, it could have covered up evidence of like civilization there. We don't know if something lived there or not. For all we know, it could have been the old version of Earth.
And
Hmm.
Mars did lie within, or does lie within the Goldilocks zone, so it could theoretically
Hmm.
have supported life, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised if Earth kind of pushed some things out of whack a bit and had to make room for itself. And it's just in that Goldilocks zone, having pushed things out a little bit by chance.
So while I was doing research for this, I ended up discovering something that there's a theory that there's an additional planet or something out beyond Neptune.
Like Pluto. Hmm.
No, a large planet or some large
Hmm.
astral body, a large
So
planet,
something
or
about
they've
Pluto
said
being
I
even a
part
black
know.
of
hole.
the club.
I know after Neptune, there's just like a lot of either like small like dwarf planets or like a bunch of asteroids.
Yeah, there's dwarf planets in the Kuiper belt,
I
and
could
then the
see
Oort
Dwarf
planet
planets
up
are
past
full
that.
eventually
planet.
after long enough, I wonder if like all of that debris and asteroids will turn into a planet.
Well, the thing is that there's some extra force, gravitational force, acting on um, the dwarf planets and the asteroids that are out beyond, just beyond Mars, that asteroid belt, that people like it's not accounted for, the
Hmm.
gravitational pull,
Like
and
there's like a pole, but like nothing there to actually see where the pole's coming from.
yeah, there's some gravitational anomaly out past Neptune
Hmm.
that's interacting with stuff closer into this closer in.
Weird.
I also want to bring up that so while I was doing research for this, and I already mentioned this to Cosmo, here's my first bullet point for um, things about space. The first bullet point is space is alcoholic.
Space is alcoholic. I really want to know what that means.
Okay, so I'm gonna read right off of this news article. In 2009, astronomers exploring a giant cloud of gas and dust at the center of the Milky Way made a surprise discovery. The cloud is packed full of a chemical known as ethyl formate, which has a couple of intriguing properties. It is responsible for giving raspberries their flavor and has the smell of rum. Another nearby region is also notable as it's full of ethyl alcohol, or ethanol, the type we use to make alcoholic beverages. It contains enough alcohol to supply every person on the planet with 300,000 pints of beer per day for the next billion years.
Oh my god.
So there's a giant cloud of alcohol sitting out in space near the middle of the Milky Way.
That would be an absolutely wild sci-fi story. Like, imagine a movie that's just like a bunch of guys trying to get to the beer.
That's
Try to get to
pretty.
the beer
That's
nebula.
that's pretty much just the restaurant at the end of the universe, man.
You
Real.
go out you go out there, there's just like a floating bar in the middle of space.
That would
Literally.
actually be crazy.
So yeah, space is alcoholic. That's my if anything's gonna be the takeaway from this session, that's from this week's conversation, that's the takeaway. Space is alcoholic.
That's the real reason the Russians wanted to get to space before America. They just
True.
Oh,
wanted the alcohol.
100%.
Hmm. Yeah, we're in the Milky Way galaxy. Why can't we be in the Beery Way galaxy?
Milky Way galaxy.
Come on, man.
We are in the Beery Way galaxy, apparently.
Oh wait,
Evidently.
this is the Milky Way.
Sir, this is a Milky Way?
I thought the Alcohol Nebula was like away from the galaxy.
Right, existence. I'm existing. Yes. What's? Why are you talking about alcohol nebula? What?
Alcohol Nebula.
Space is alcoholic.
Oh my god. And here
It's
I was thinking I
science.
was going to talk about one of my favorite story tropes. Humans are space orcs.
Humans
Oh,
are space orcs?
please dive into that more. I want to hear this.
Oh hell yeah! So it's a theory that we are considered a death world because we do have a lot of extreme temperatures compared to other planets, and it varies immensely. And we have a lot of natural disasters, weather. Some of our stuff is considered acid to species on Earth, let alone species from different planets. So the theory is that
Oxygen.
humans are basically what we see as the equivalent of orcs. Super strong, resilient, and just crazy to think about. And people typically use a term death worlder to describe our planet and like other highly dangerous planets. And typically in stories, Earth is seen as one of the most dangerous death worlds because of the diversity of various types of poisons and stuff we have on here.
Oxygen.
That is poisons to some species, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say oxygen is
And
technically a
there's
poison.
also a theory that it's a
If you
drug
try hard
too.
enough.
It's a drug, but
Everything's a
since
drug
we
if you try
were
hard enough.
born breathing it, that
Everything
we
is a
literally
drug
can't
if you
go
try
without
hard
it.
enough.
Oxygen is
Everything is also
literally
poisonous if you try
responsible
hard
for
enough.
fire. So
Also, yeah, like our plant's highly combustible. What we breathe is highly combustible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say oxygen is highly flammable
So,
by definition.
yeah, so the theory is that our world is technically a death world by standards. Like, even though to us it seems really nice, others see it technically as a death world. And that other species, while they have certain abilities and we may see them as scary and powerful, they're not powerful compared to us, especially considering people don't realize it because there's amazing things like starfish and lizards that can regenerate limbs. We do have incredible regeneration powers. We literally suffer internal bleeding and heal like it's nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy
People
to
have
think about.
taken wounds to the gut and survived.
People have been
We're just
shot
kind of
in the
built
head and
different.
survived.
Like, people have taken hits to their vital organs that are fatal wounds and survived. That's how crazy humans are. Our bones, they break, we heal them. Like, everything about us is kind of slightly unnatural with our. We do have a high natural regeneration speed. Sure, there's species on Earth that have a much higher regeneration than us, but think that, like, what if other planets, other species don't have that out there in space? They don't have the same regeneration we do that's insanely high healing. And also, our bodies break themselves to make us stronger.
I guess
Yeah.
So
Oh
we're
wow.
also, and that's not even
Yeah.
considering our natural drugs that our body produces, like hormones and oh, adrenaline. We become superhuman in danger. Like
Yep.
adrenaline, like turns our strength into superhuman strength. We become super fast, hyper aware. Also, we gotta consider that we are also a predator. Like we are a predator species. Which
Like
the
the
theory does
apex.
say a lot of death worlders are either predator species or a incredibly resilient and highly powerful herbivore. We are incredible predators. Our stamina is incredibly limitless, even compared to other species on Earth. We might not be as fast or as strong as the same species on Earth, but we have the stamina. We will.
We have,
Old
yeah,
hunters would just
hypothetically infinite stamina.
run for hours upon hours after prey until the prey gets tired. We just keep going. We don't stop hunting. But eventually the prey gets tired, and that's when we catch them. So imagine being a different species that doesn't have our incredible physical prowess. And that's also considering like death rows, most people would be considering them more animal like. We have a high intelligence too. And between our incredibly resilient bodies and also the fact that we are developing cyber techniques to replace lost limbs. We are attaching poisonous materials and possibly dangerous materials to our cells to replace things we've lost. Humans
Our
A
brains
are
are
little wild.
crazy.
a crazy species, and that's why humans are space orcs is such a well-loved tag because people like to realize, like, yeah, we are crazy compared to what could be. And people just don't
Yeah.
realize that so much. And I love the idea that we are what we think of as orcs, we are the equivalent of that to space. To be fair, we ingest poison on the daily. Ever heard of salt?
Salt's actually
Chocolate?
crazy.
Salt and chocolate are some of the probably most
Like
poisonous things we
salt's
ingest
salt's
daily.
made from like mad poisonous instant kill things. And we just put it together and we're like, yeah, no, this will work. Let's just eat this now. And
And
it
like
works. Like who
chocolate,
made that? Who figured that
uh,
out?
most species on Earth can't actually have chocolate because it's so poisonous. But we just eat it.
Oh, is that not just a dog thing?
No,
Like it's better.
It's
most
not just
animals.
dogs. Most canine
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
species
we got
and
like
birds can
peppers
have it.
that taste like fire, and we were like, I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Who
are
made
literally.
spicier?
People don't realize this, but we're making them spicier. But those are like not only like acidic, like also our citruses are highly acidic. And our pineapples literally dissolve flesh. But our spice stuff, is a deadly poison that we adapted to.
yeah,
Also, like in other terms of other fantasy races, like we make up fantasy races that are like so much more resilient to poisons than us, like dwarves. And I'm just like, the only difference is they can have mercury instantly. We just have to build up immunity, I think. Like, don't try it, but I bet
We do not
any
endorse
poison or
building of
substance,
communities.
someone can build up an
Mercury.
immunity to it. If it exists, we
Isn't
could probably build up an immunity to it. We naturally build up immunities to harmful substances over time. That's why people need more of medicine if they get too used to it. Like, eventually, I'm probably gonna need a higher dosage of ADHD meds as my body acclimates to it and it starts affecting me less.
yeah,
Unless I occasionally take breaks like I normally do. So, yeah, our bodies are made to handle stuff, and addiction is just us warning we're going too fast with this deadly substance. We need to slow it down.
as
Like, people forget how crazy humans are with our resistances.
yeah.
So calling us a death world, calling us death worlders, and the humans are space orcs makes so much sense to me, and I love it.
as much as I like the idea of us being the space orcs, it all depends on what other alien creatures have. It could
Yeah,
be true, or it could be like just not, you know?
Well, that's you gotta consider. There's other death worlds probably too, so there's definitely stronger creatures than us. I'm just saying, in certain aspects, we are the equivalent of a death world. Our Earth is filled. The air itself is poisonous. Without us doing anything, it's poisonous, and we breathe it in on the daily. Every second we breathe is poison and death that we just accepted and our body just uses.
I don't know.
Yeah, people just never realize that, and it's crazy.
It's a fascinating theory, if nothing else.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and honestly, if this theory is ever put into test, I'd love to see that.
I
Because
don't
a
know
lot of
how
the
would you
stories I
test
read
that?
based on it, like obviously we are a species that does not have very advanced space travel. So if there is stuff out there, we don't know about it because they don't want us to know about it yet. We don't have high enough space travel to even go. We haven't even flown a person to Mars yet. I Yeah. So unless
Actually,
like some alien conquering force invades us and we get higher tech stuff, it's gonna be a while before we even leave past Mars.
I heard an interesting theory once.
Hmm?
Do
It
tell.
was like it's like it kind of explained why if there are aliens that know where we are, they might not want to
Ooh,
tell
yes.
us
Okay,
where we
I was
are.
gonna get into this too.
Interact
Go
stuff.
for it. I love this one. I
Um,
think I know what you're talking about.
okay, so
Hmm.
basically it's like so you got like a bunch of aliens, right? And they're all on different planets, and say they all are like similar, right? Like they all had planets where like you have to like fight for resources, right?
Hmm.
So if there's one alien that wants to destroy everything, then they could make like a weapon that could go so fast that we wouldn't have the time to react to it, and then our world would just blow up, right? So
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
if there's one creature that could do that, then it might be wise for like every other creature to just stay quiet
Yeah.
so that as to
The
not.
Dark Forest theory.
I saw that theory and that was really cool, but did you ever see the end of that theory that someone created into like a short story?
I haven't
The
heard that short
theory
story.
ended with Earth deciding to fuck around, but then the creature found out. The army found out. The story went as such that the, basically a lot of these theories I often see that there's like a galactic federation of sorts, kind of like UN but space and actually useful. So so one the theory you're talking about, I saw basically a short story based off of that. So the planets were afraid of this. They don't really send out signals except through hidden channels that are quick and undetectable because there's something out there intercepting those things. And when it senses that, it takes that planet out because it's found that planet. Eventually, Earth starts loudly broadcasting once we get high enough tech. So we are, but the other planets don't realize it's purposeful. They think that this is just another new planet that's gonna die. And then they see us kind of annihilate an army. Like, because people so frequently might
Well,
underestimate us because we don't look like much. To be honest,
um,
we don't have claws. We don't have that sharp of teeth. We don't have tails, wings. We don't have any other features that anything could possibly have.
can't.
We don't look like much, but we are a
Um,
lot.
I just want to point out when I say weapons that could destroy a planet, I don't mean like an army, like in the traditional
Hmm.
sense. I mean like just
Like
a
the Death
single
Star, you
object.
mean?
No, I mean like a single object going light speed, like almost light speed, just hitting
Hmm.
Earth, and that's worse than a meteor.
Yeah. So
And then you can't
not only is
prepare
that
for it because you don't
relatively
see it because it's
too.
so close to the speed of light.
There's actually
Hmm.
a lot of different types of weapons that work like that too. Like there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of theories
You
around
forget we have
different types
nukes.
of.
Like,
No, I'm not.
and also like everything. A lot of theories often mention that like everything they'd have such advanced stuff like potentially like laser type technology that's hard to block. And if they do have like so advanced, sometimes people don't realize how powerful like older weaponry is.
I, but
Like,
but but like something going near light speed, you can't prepare for that.
planets have like natural defenses against stuff like that, right?
That's why like there would be weapons that are designed to take out planets. There's like multiple. There's like
Yeah,
weapons that are super speed missiles, or there's like giant lasers that can
And once
launch,
they hit, you can't do anything because they already
Mhm.
and they would
destroyed
be
the planet.
designed against like natural
Yes.
defenses.
And yeah, you
But
can't
the
like
thing is, it's also very hard to prepare against certain things such as gravity. That's why moons exist. The moon literally protects us from
no.
asteroids.
I don't think you understand. Anyway, let's just move on to another topic.
No. Another theory I've seen related to this is kind of like, do any of you know Warhammer 40K?
No, I'm familiar
Nope.
with what it is.
Familiar
So
with it,
in
but I
that,
don't know much
the
about it.
orcs, their willpower and imagination is so powerful that sometimes stuff comes into being. Like it makes them seem like super powerful. There's a theory that like humans are in that way, that people that our weaponry, all our stuff, our laws of science, isn't really meant to work. But we have such willpower and belief in this power of our science that it does. So shit that's not supposed to work does. Instead of the gun blowing up in our faces constantly from the force of the gunpowder, it shoots out a bullet instead. Because the theory goes that our willpower is literally enforcing these laws, bringing these laws of science into being. And I think that's fascinating to think about. That we have these laws that we've willed into being that other things won't have. And how terrifying that'd be, especially with nukes and
I
stuff.
I think it would be pretty easy. Like, I mean, not easy, but like any intelligent species could figure out laws of physics in different units, of course, but like still.
But would they
Like,
have it? Like, we don't know if they have that on their planet. We don't know if this is something we've entirely willed into being for all we know. We don't know how real this level of science is. So, for all we know, we could have just been making this up and it actually works because of our willpower. We don't know. And we will never know. Not until something
Dun, dun,
proves us
dun.
different. Okay, I can't say never because there's gonna be something probably eventually that will prove that this is entirely different. Like, again, it could confirm or deny the existence of these laws if we meet another alien species from who knows where. But that's gonna be far off coming because we don't know if there's something out there. We don't have the stuff to check. We still need to explore our planet first, I think. Like the
Freaking
ocean's
hate the
over
ocean.
80% unexplored, I think.
Yeah, that needs to not exist. Like
yeah.
the amount of existential dread I have, like on a daily basis, from just realizing that there could be any sort of crap down there, and we just don't know because we can't see it. Like,
I don't
bro,
like the
what?
water. I don't like the
Right?
water. It's like
Water
I don't
is.
I'm fine being like in a pool or whatever, but like ocean, nah.
No way. Like, sign me out. Like, unsign me up. Put me on the no-go list.
Speaking of the dark depths of water, what do you guys think of the dark depths of black holes?
Those are trippy.
Honestly, wormholes and black holes are interesting. Like wormholes, obviously, like people think those are kind of like equivalent of like portals in the universe, two different planets. And similar to those, people theorize that instead of being portals, black holes are just like a contained environment inside of it. But the gravity it excludes is so immense that nothing can get into it. So it's kind of like a contained universe.
Imagine if like every single black hole is just you go in it and there's another universe with its own black
That'd be so
holes
cool.
that you can go in to other universes which have their own
That would
black
be
holes.
That'd
incredible.
definitely be interesting. Also, like, for all we know, black holes could be a monster. For all we know, it could be instead of like something born from a star. For all we know, stars could be massive eggs. That when black holes, whether or not a black hole is born from them, is whether or not it's a stillbirth. So if a black hole is born, it could be like some monster on the other end of it. We just can't tell. We
I
don't
I
know.
did
think
And
actually.
we might never
I,
be able to tell either. Like, with unless you die, like that's the only way to know for sure what happens. It's like one of those things where it's like,
Or unless we meet a species, non-terrestrial, non-Earth species that knows a lot more than us, we'll find out more.
Aren't black holes just like big dense objects? It's when density gets too high and then it cascades into just a point, and that's what a black hole is.
yeah, like
Yeah.
gravity collapses in on itself or something.
I don't
That's
think there's
I
any.
because the star
actually
collapses down on itself, and instead of exploding, it condenses to a
I
black
don't think
hole
there's any
instead of a
creature behind it.
supernova.
I think it's just dense.
no.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know, though. We
But
don't know
there
for sure.
is,
There's
I'm
no
pretty
way
sure there
for
is like
there
a
to be a
scientific
creature there.
something
Yeah.
for some, not necessarily a creature, but like there is more to black holes than just a collapse, from what I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
Which could just
else.
be
Like, there's no way
interstellar
it's
stripping
just
with me.
collapse.
But like
there's no way to.
I feel like that came from something.
Like, why do some of them collapse, but other into a black hole, but others become a supernova? Like, we don't know.
I think
It's
they
their
all supernova.
size.
It's just that some leave behind a dwarf star and some leave behind a black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
A
it's
neutron
dependent on
star or
size.
something.
But eventually, that star like is gone eventually. But like, we don't know why some of them just vanish. Some of them become black holes. We don't know.
Well, I don't think they vanish. They just become rock.
No,
They
they
like
burn out.
cool.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure. I
Like,
don't think.
cooled down
I
and
don't know if
condensed
they cool down
hydrogen.
fast enough so to see them yet, but eventually.
How terrifying would it be just to look up the night sky and just see something cover the stars?
Oh my
Like some
god.
massive
Oh
creature
my
just
god.
block out the stars. And it's like not even in Earth just above you, it's the whole Earth that just gets blocked out from the stars. So like,
It would just like
or
go
even more terrifying, it's not something blocking them, they just all go out at once. All those stars.
Well,
I'm
until
pretty
we
sure it
see
happened in
that,
Doctor Who
I'm not
once.
gonna worry about that.
I've never watched Doctor Who, so no one can say I stole that from anything.
Yeah.
Ha.
I'm pretty sure something like that did happen. It
yeah,
was like
it
not at all
did.
Probably
scientific.
did.
It was like
I
aliens messing with stuff, but like still.
I never watched
It was
Doctor
pretty
Who,
cool
but I feel
imagery to
like I'd
see.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
You probably would, Cosmo.
Great. I don't know where to watch it though, so I'll figure it out.
The other
Honestly,
interesting
like,
thing about black holes is that according to the laws of the universe, matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Where does
but
the
we don't know
matter
if
that
those
goes?
laws are actually enforced for all we know. Again,
No, there
we
are
don't know if
created.
those is confirmed.
There are perceived laws of the universe, but
Yeah.
still, like when matter goes into a black hole, it basically ceases to exist.
So
So
that's why there's the inside of it is a contained universe that's formed. That's what that theory is about.
Yeah.
That's what happens through the matter.
And
Or does it just get like super compacted somehow?
when stuff goes
We
into a
don't
black
know.
hole,
Yeah.
we don't know what happens to it. But the event horizon, the actual part that you can not see, but the stuff that the warping you can see, it gets a little bigger every time you put stuff in it. But then like black holes do like evaporate over time, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think they stick around forever.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
Hawking radiation or something.
Who knows? But yeah, humans are just genuinely fascinated with things we don't know, but we also fear them so much. Like space and the ocean are some of the most feared, but most fascinating things to humans.
Personally, I think if it's like not even worth worrying about space, because if anything in space happens, I mean, there's not really anything we could do anyway, so I don't really feel like worrying about it.
Yeah, I'll leave it to the like scientists who have a PhD and stuff. Like they can deal with that. I'll just sit over here and wait for them to tell me whether or not it's something I need to worry about.
Like
Because
it's not something I'm super into too much, but I am fascinated about like what species could be out there. Because of course I want to be like a wildlife biologist. I want to research animals. I love seeing animals and their behaviors in the wild.
Hmm.
So the thought of so many more species that we don't know beyond just out there somewhere fascinates me. And I am also a longtime follower of the multiverse theory, so that also adds to the fascination.
Multiverse.
Yes.
I think
Multiverse.
we should really, as like humanity, we should like try to invest in like mining asteroids though. Like there's a lot of metal
No.
and stuff in those
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's like several movies and books and shows and stories and
Oh yeah,
other stuff about
definitely.
that though, and how it goes wrong horribly
Those
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
every
but
Like,
time
stories.
because
it's
we don't know
fiction,
what's
all
in
right,
those
guys. It's not
asteroids.
real.
We don't know what's in them. They go so many different places. We don't know what they touch. We don't know what's in them.
They
Something
got
could be
they
in the
got
bottom
rocks,
for all we
just
know.
like
They're just rocks, probably. It's
Why do you
just a
fine.
think it's
scam
so
or
common
something.
a thing in stories and movies and shows and
Going
all
through
that stuff to
quarantine.
have something living on or in the asteroid? Or the
It'll
my
be
asteroid is
It's
living
worries,
like
thing?
I'm sure
my
the
worries
chances
are
are
yeah,
more
slim.
that even just capitalizing on our own planet's stuff, we're are still such a screwed up like everything.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And I
Like,
think that
we need to store our
extending
own
that to
stuff
space
before we
is
start taking other
wild.
stuff.
Yeah,
I
we need to figure
think,
out what we're
yeah, we
doing.
do need to figure out that.
Because we
that's
also have
true.
severe overpopulation issues, and while that would be solved by expanding into other planets on space, we also need to first figure out how to manage our resources correctly, because we can't do that now as a planet. How can we be expected to do that for other planets?
I think
Yeah, exactly.
if
And
we
also,
do
like,
like
there's also games and stories and movies giving people bad ideas about what we could do. One of them being like, it's a cool game, probably fun for other people, but one of them is Helldivers 2. That is a bad example of what we, but it's also a likely example of what would happen if we expanded now into space. If we had the technology suddenly that we could, and we did, that's probably what would happen. We would become a dictator and start taking over stuff and decimating local systems.
I think the like mining asteroids, I think it would like displace the mining from the Earth, so it would be generally good.
You just said that's where the catch is. You said displace. That doesn't resolve it, Cosmo. That's just displacing it, putting the problem somewhere else for
I
us
don't
to
know,
deal
but
with
like
later on. That's like
asteroids, no one really lives
procrastinating
on
it.
asteroids though.
We don't
So
know
like,
that.
oh
We
my
haven't been
god.
on one. Cosmo, assume we don't know much. To consider this, we are a relatively new race. Think about that. We are like what,
Yeah,
20,000 years old?
I just think the chances of like going on an asteroid and finding like a life and like every single asteroid is very slim. I don't know. Hmm. What else?
Circling back around to the conversation about black holes, what do you guys think about the theoretical white holes?
White holes.
What now?
I things that nothing can enter, but everything escapes.
Ooh, kind of like
Yeah.
a kind of like a shield that can't hold what it's protecting inside. That's interesting.
So white
Yeah.
holes are the theoretical inverse of black holes, where
Yeah.
they're spitting out material instead of pulling it in. So in the theoretical where the universe is um there are universes inside of black holes, white holes would
Yeah.
kind of be the entrances to those universes.
hmm
Yeah.
Well,
I
entrances, or would they be the exits from the black holes? As you said, everything can leave them, but nothing can come in.
yeah, it would be
So
an
it makes
exit.
me think that's an exit more of.
Yeah, but it would enter into other universes if black holes go into other universes. That's what he's saying.
Also, I'm getting a sudden like immovable, unstoppable force and immovable object vibe from those two.
Yeah. What would
Like, what
happen if
would
they
happen if
collided?
a black hole tried to devour a white hole? Would it be like a
Hmm.
self-destruct? That's the
Probably.
thing. Like,
I
would it
it
just simply phase out of existence? Because that's like a paradox that's meeting then.
it depends
Like a
how
literal
white holes
paradox.
work. If white holes
Yeah.
have mass or they have like a something,
Mhm.
then they would collide and then whatever's left would be what's left. So like
But
If
if,
it's a
as
bigger
Liam's
white hole than a
saying, it's the
black hole.
literal anti-version of the opposite of a black hole, then
It'd probably
it
just
would
cancel
be
out.
a literal paradox meeting. And Cosmo in D&D terms, that's literally putting a bag of holding in a bag of holding.
Yeah. I wish we saw one, but until then, I don't think they exist in our universe.
White holes.
White holes.
Yeah, they have not been. Nobody's discovered any, and I think that if they did exist, that we probably would have found them already.
Yeah. And the weird part is, it would have to
Well,
be
if they're
like
hiding from us.
they would have to have like negative mass or something
Yeah, exactly.
because
Mhm.
then it would push things away because that's its entire thing, right?
It spits out mass, which would theoretically be where the mass that goes into black holes comes from, or
Yes.
goes to, which
Goes to.
fixes the whole
But
breaking of physics when black holes eat matter thing.
but black holes do gain mass when they do eat stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know if they did or not. If they
They
do, then technically it's not breaking
yeah, they do gain
physics.
mass. Oh yeah, disclaimer. We're not scientists.
Yeah,
No, we are not
we are just
scientists.
making theories based on what little we know. We are not official
Mhm.
scientists. We cannot confirm or deny anything we're saying. This is just a fun theory
I
channel.
feel like we should start putting that as a disclaimer in every episode. Like everything we
We are
say
not
is
experts. We are not
everything is
experts.
off topic. The show where we talk about topics that we have no reason to talk about. Like let's
We
just
are we are a bunch of friends goofing around, making fun theories, and talking about things we like. We are not experts in any of these subjects.
well,
Oh,
sometimes we might be.
Whatsoever.
There might be some subjects.
Yeah, like for instance, like my wildlife biology major I'm working towards, I'm kind of an expert in certain subjects due to that.
But then we still gotta have
um,
the disclaimer for everyone else who's not biology. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no
Yeah.
disclaimers. We should throw that in there.
I'm a
Mhm.
computer science major. Yippee! That hasn't come up at all.
Wait, what majors do we have there? My wildlife biologist, Cosmos, computer
Computer
science engineering thing.
science.
What's
Wow.
yours, Liam?
I'd nothing. I'm boring
Nothing.
and nothing.
Forget about it.
Vibe. What about you, Isaac?
I am a childhood education major.
Oh,
Oh,
neat.
nice. Do you agree that if a teacher should only teach one subject, students shouldn't have to learn every single bit of every single subject?
Space.
No, I disagree with that. Although actually, education would be a really interesting conversation to have sometime.
It would be an
Yeah,
interesting
like
conversation.
honestly, personally, I think people should learn the basics, but if they want to learn more about a specific subject, then they choose to.
Yeah,
We
we'll
shouldn't be
line that
forced
up
to
for a
learn
future
like
episode.
I don't want to be forced to
Probably
learn
try and
shit like
stick to space for now.
calculus.
But
Anyway, did
Yeah.
you know that there's like a
Fun
planet
stuff.
made of diamonds or something?
Yes, I did know
I
about
mean,
that
yeah, it's
actually.
entirely made of carbon.
I believe it.
Crystallized carbon, so
Imagine
literally
like
diamonds.
there's probably a
Well,
planet
that
made out
also
of
just could be
everything.
called condensed carbon because
What if there's a planet made of
No,
alcohol?
it's made of diamonds. What if there's a planet made of alcohol? There's a region made of
um,
alcohol.
I mean, I wouldn't
I
be
wonder.
surprised if
honestly,
there
it's
was
actually
some gas
possible.
giant that was
Not gas giant, liquid giant, because that is possible.
that
Actually,
too.
you'd have to have like a
There's
small
probably
solid core and a strong gravity from that core. It'd have to be really dense to hold all that liquid around it, but it is in theory possible. And those chemical components are possible to be have naturally out there. So for all we know, there could be a liquid alcohol planet.
You know what's
Probably wouldn't
interesting
taste good
to
though. It'd probably be like a medical alcohol you put on your wounds.
you know what's interesting to think about? Like of all
Hmm.
the matter in the universe, most of it's like solid or gas. Like there's less liquids
Liquid.
than you think.
Because a lot of things don't do things neutrally. There's a lot of different like variations of extremes, and liquids are a harder thing to come by.
You know, they're
But
more
then
like
there's
a
also kinds of liquids that
fluid.
don't make sense, like how a metal, mercury, is liquid at room temperature.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense.
It's also deadly poison, so
Yay.
Well, that's besides the point.
Mercury.
Remember earlier I was like talking about the wars? Yeah, Mercury is one of the things they're just taking because they're naturally so immune to stuff. And there's a theory that people think in fantasy that dwarven food is so bland because they don't know what poisonous stuff they eat that humans can have. Like salt's literally a rock.
I
They
feel
just don't
like
know the level of spices we're able to take that they normally have because most of what they have is deadly poisons.
but isn't Mercury like poisonous to like every single creature on our Earth?
I believe
Uh,
so.
I think there's probably like one or two that could survive it.
There might be one or two. Yeah, I could see that.
Water bears.
It's always the water bears.
It's always the
Those things are
tardigrades.
fucking invincible. They're like the Nokia phone on crack. That's alive too.
Did you know that NASA accidentally crashed some tardigrades into the moon and now they just live there?
What are
I
tardigrades? Oh, the water bears?
Yeah,
Yes.
water bears are
They're not
tardigrades.
they're hibernating and because they don't have like water and stuff to reactivate, but
Hmm.
there's just hibernating tardigrades on the moon now.
Yep,
Beautiful.
that's funny.
Good on them.
I think like most tardigrades have like they're all like resistant, but I believe they're all like resistant to like specific things. Like some tardigrades are better in hot conditions than others. There's different types of
Does that
tardigrades.
imply there's like a if they through selective breeding we could make a truly invincible immortal tardigrade?
Oh, I'm not a tardigradologist.
Not the
Even
tardigradologist.
I don't know. I mean, it's not the subject
You
of
should
focus for
dedicate
me,
your life to
honestly.
researching tardigrades.
Hell no. I don't deal with water stuff, let alone water bears.
But they're just goofy little guys.
And goofy little guys with like gas masks or something. That's what they look like at least.
Gas
Mm,
mask caterpillars.
speaking of space, did you know like most of atoms are just empty space? So like most of us are just empty space, which means everything is
Yeah,
mostly just empty space.
yep. There's actually like a physical chance that when you like touch anything, your atoms will all just completely miss each other.
Yeah.
You know, the
Just
space
completely
too.
phase right through something, yeah.
Is that like
Phasing is
quantum
literally
tunneling or whatever?
possible.
It's possible. It's just statistically unlikely.
I wonder if that's if like somewhere in the universe there's just
The
been like a
backrooms are
rock
real.
that just
It's possible
went
to actually no clip.
if just a rock no clips just randomly somewhere.
And we'll never know. It just happened.
It just happened. It's
And
like did if a tree falls in the woods, does it really make a sound if no one's there to hear? But instead it's a rock hitting another rock, but not actually hitting the other rock.
it's
Falls
just
through the other
going
rock.
about its own
It's no
business.
clipping. He's cheating. He's hacking.
Hacking. Mm, space.
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 Space is
We're just leaving some.
wild.
We're leaving some audible space.
We're leaving some audible space, yes.
Yeah.
Space. But what if space was a simulation?
Simulation?
What if the world was a simulation? Whoa.
Whoa. Like a simulation designed to figure out what the ultimate questions, the ultimate answer
I don't
is.
know. Some BS like
Yes.
that.
That.
Just a giant program designed to find deep many things. It'd be really unfortunate if that big program was then messed up by hyperspace throughways.
Yeah.
That's
If you
something
know, you
really bad
know.
triggered if that happened. Shout out to the real ones.
I just thought of a thing to say, but then I forgot it.
Oh
It's
no, not
Mood.
happened this
again. This
time.
happened last week.
No.
It's gonna become a regular thing.
No. Oh, I
Every
remember.
episode, Cosmo comes up with something and then forgets it.
I remember though.
Do you
This
remember?
time I remember. I
Shoot before you
remember.
get.
Since we're running out of things to talk about. I have just like a thing at the very bottom, just like sitting there. How have you ever seen flat earthers try to describe space?
Kills brain
It's
cells.
it's funny.
Do we have examples?
Let me think of. I think I wrote something down. Give me a second. So yeah, there's like a theory that it's just a dome or something, and that there's stars on it.
Yep. Yep.
And then like
It's
then
so
people are
goofy.
like, but what if you're in the south hemisphere? In a flat Earth, it would look completely different, looking different directions. And then they're like, ooh, but what if everyone has their own personal dome? And then it's just,
No shot. No shot. They
it's
actually.
just,
Huh?
it's so
What's
bad.
that?
Um, Flat Earthers explaining space.
Oh
Oh,
my
no.
god, fucking flat earthers. I actually went.
Instagram
I
comments
didn't
too
go
loud
to the
and stuff.
island itself, but I was quite near where they thought the end of the world was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Like
that's
it's
pretty
just off
cool.
the
I
coast of Nova Scotia.
no, I
Pretty cool to
recently
see.
I
Hilarious
recently
though.
went down a huge flat Earth rabbit hole. Do you know why? I
Oh
got a
no,
written
why?
argument. I got like I'm in a class called written argument for like a gen ed course, and basically
No way.
we have to spot out logical fallacies. And I was like, ooh, flat Earthers.
That's a good start.
So that's
Bro.
that's the thing I did. It was very fun hearing the stupid arguments on how space works.
Like the funny thing is, like one of the videos I've seen that pisses off so many flat earthers, like it's hilarious too. It's just like it shows what they think the Earth is as, and it's one of the dinosaurs that hit by the asteroid, right? The asteroid hits it and it just flips like a
Oh,
coin, launching them
yeah,
into
flips like a coin
space.
and throws the dinosaurs into space. Yeah, I've seen that.
Every flat earther
That's
who sees it,
delightful.
I think, gets incredibly pissed off. But some even are like, "You want? Yeah, no, that's the truth. Yeah, yeah, that's true." Then, like, what about the bones in the earth? Hmm? The bones.
From other dinosaurs that died, obviously.
What did the dinosaurs think of space?
What did the
They
dinosaurs think
couldn't
of
think.
space?
They're dead.
Well,
Touche.
when when they did live, did they just kind of like not care? I mean, I wouldn't care if I was a T-Rex.
T-Rex just vibing. Not a care in the world.
Hmm. But I guess dinosaurs would be a good topic as well. Um, do we have anything else about space?
I just think it's really interesting how space is like the galaxies are all moving apart, kind of like how the continents keep moving apart. Like continental drift, but then there's also a galactic version, and I think that's just funky.
Yeah. Like according like I'm pretty sure like some like calculations like
Like, like.
showed that eventually the like if why do I keep saying like
Like, you know, like
It's just gonna keep happening now.
if the universe keeps expanding and increasing in expansion rate, that it will be going so fast that we just won't be able to see stars anymore because they're going too
yes,
fast.
I did see that. I did see stuff about that.
About like that,
About stuff like that, yeah.
like words are weird.
Words
You
are
have deja
weird.
vu.
Deja vu. Yeah.
Just like cut in the first episode right here. And it'll just keep going. Am I supposed to end off the podcast? Do like an outro or something?
So, um, you when we wrap up, you pick somebody to host next week, and they do the outro.
Okay. Let me get a 6-sided die.
The 6-sided die.
Why not?
Wait, how many
Only
of us are there?
four. Wait, there's four of
There's
us.
3. Yeah, but
give me your
he's
actually
picking another person.
give me your coolest space fact that we haven't
I
talked
said
about.
there's 4. Oh wait, no, that other person never comes. Never mind.
Each of you, Cameron, give me a cool space fact.
Uh, um, our main source of heat is nothing but a burning, exploding ball of gas that we don't know how long it'll stay together. It's literally
Oh.
ripping apart.
Okay, Liam, give me a cool space fact.
All of the bumps on Earth make Earth still smoother than a bowling ball, despite them
Cool.
If you
being
shrunk it down.
dozens of miles, or not dozens, but like 5 miles in each direction.
Isaac, give me a cool space fact.
All right, so this is very, very cool space fact. In fact, it's so cool. Space is about negative 455 degrees Fahrenheit. Some might even call that cold.
The coolest space fact of
So
all.
it's not even applicable.
I don't think you can get cooler than that.
For the pun, Isaac, you'll be hosting next.
Yeah, let's go. All right, so I think the where we started to go with education, I think that was a really cool spot. So get ready for that. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I don't remember if we have any sort of structure for these outros, so we're just going to end it right here.